Let's discuss some recent trends in requesting a bond for your loved ones in 2026 in court. So, if your loved one is detained and you want to have your loved one be released from detention, you have to request that in court. And let's discuss some recent trends while my son is playing. So, it's all for our families, right? Just be aware that, based on our experience, there are certain issues to be aware of and what's going on. So recently, there has been a big shift in what's required of these bond requests, and based on what I've seen in similar cases, it's all about the sponsor and all about flight risk. Because yes, your loved one can have been here for years, decades even, but what I've seen is in cases that are in court, they're really requiring that your loved one has a sponsor. So you want to show that you have a sponsor, just like your loved one has a sponsor. And so you want to show that your loved one has this kind of connection with somebody who's willing to pay for the bond and commit financially to the case. Because I've heard of other cases where they had almost everything. Like, they proved that the person is a person of good moral character. She goes to church and serves the community and things like that. But it always went back to what the judge asked about the person's sponsor. And so the sponsor has to be a U.S. citizen, or should be a U.S. citizen. That's mostly what these judges are requiring now. So when you do have your loved one's information, make sure to include that the loved one has a sponsor that is a U.S. citizen. Because yes, there will be other issues to argue, such as whether the person is a person of good moral character. That's important, but then you should also consider things like what to talk about with your attorney, and especially ask if your attorney has experience with these kinds of cases, because especially in 2026, it's becoming very hard to get these bonds approved, these bond requests. So think about those things as you consider what's the best approach, because it's not easy. It's definitely harder than ever before, but it's still possible. And so think about how to best strategize with your attorney, and think about how to get a sponsor that is a U.S. citizen. That's key. But yes, you should also consider other things, like whether this person is a person of good moral character. Anyone can write letters for this person, and be sure to put all those together. And please contact us if you have any questions. We'll be happy to talk with you if you have questions about how to get your loved one out of detention.